What's up, YouTube? It's your boy X, and today we're going to be reacting to when a lawsuit destroys your life in 24 hours, bro. Blah, 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 blah. Blah, blah, blah. Blah. Don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, and share for your boy. Sorry.
This is the craziest lawsuit I've read in a long time, because this Wall Street lawsuit essentially claims that a powerful executive turned a junior banker into her personal servant for months. But now people are digging into the details and the story isn't quite adding up. It's getting weirder and weirder as every hour unfolds here on Twitter. So the person at the center of all this is Chirayu Rana, a former Wall Street employee who worked with both Morgan Stanley and JP Morgan. He filed a lawsuit accusing senior executive Lorna Hajdini, an executive director in leveraged finance, of months and months of alleged abuse and control behind closed doors. Right away, the claims get a lot of attention, and I feel like I have never received more whiplash from a case than this. When I first read through everything, I was like, whoa, this is crazy. But then suddenly, the tides turned, and everything got crazier. But it's safe to say, from the start, there was a lot of details here. They were very specific and horrifying, especially if you take it at face value. It looked like one of those cases that could genuinely blow up the inside of a major firm. The kind of story where people go, okay, even if half of that is true, this is a massive problem. And originally, this was filed as an anonymous person, but then people found out who was behind it, and people started digging into Rana, his timeline, and how the story actually came together. And now, this is where things are starting to turn, it seems like. But quick disclaimer, this is a lawsuit, so everything's alleged. There's no way that we can actually confirm anything here. All we can cover is what's currently unfolding on the internet. But regardless, it's one hell of a story. But apparently before this lawsuit was even filed, there was a very similar version of the story already out there on the internet. The only problem is there was just some very key details changed. So what did Chirayu Rana actually claim in the lawsuit? So according to the original filing, Rana alleges that while working under Lorna, their professional relationship turned into something pretty personal, to put it lightly. He claimed that eventually it became coercive and controlling, and that it went on for months on months. So he portrayed this as an ongoing thing where, according to him, he felt pressured into a relationship that he couldn't easily get out of, especially...
I think I know what's going on. And I saw this tweet. I saw this story going on Instagram, and I was scrolling, and it's kind of crazy. And a lot of thirsty ass niggas in the DMs were talking about shit. My lobster's too buttery, and nigga, that's crazy, bro. That is crazy, bro. That is crazy, bro. But I get it, bro. God is blessing the wrong people for real. But it depends, bro. What if he was getting abused and all that, and he had a wife? So the only reason this nigga, I feel like, is doing this lawsuit is because, I don't know, maybe his wife found out or some shit, and I don't know, babe. I'm the victim. I don't know, bro.
Given the power difference between a junior employee and a senior executive. And I mean, obviously, that claim can be career ruining and pretty much life ruining, especially for a high-level executive in a well-known company. The lawsuit describes a pattern of behavior where boundaries are repeatedly crossed, with Rana alleging that his career and position were used as leverage. But now you have new allegations coming out against Rana that claim that Hajdini was never his direct boss at all. So apparently, she didn't even have anything to do with his bonuses either. But I get how an executive could still have power over you, even if you don't directly respond to them. It's just interesting to keep in mind that they didn't have a direct professional relationship. So the court documents have now been deleted, but in them, he claimed that Hajdini showed up to his house, demanding intercourse. Okay, but that's not even close to the worst of it. So at one point, the lawsuit claims Hajdini made a whole bunch of degrading remarks about his personal life and his relationships, and an alleged comment saying that she doesn't think that his wife has cannons like hers, which again, I mean, people zeroed in on that because how bizarre does that sound for a woman to say that? And there's also claims in the lawsuit about manipulation and the use of substances. And the way it's written, it's meant to feel detailed, because even...
I'm not on this nigga side at all, I can't lie, bro. So you mean to tell me a woman comes to your house, your boss, not your boss directly, but an executive in the company, and she comes to your house and she tells you, hey nigga, give me some dick, and you just don't close the door? Cause what? She has power over you. Like, no, bro. This nigga just want to cheat on his wife, bro. This nigga just want to cheat on his wife, bro. Just be real, bro. Like, and she over here talking about your bitch ain't got titties like mine. Come on, bro. You don't love your wife, bro. You don't. You just don't. Like, I get it, bro. The whole job shit and stuff, and no one will believe you. But it's just like, yo, I don't know, man. He's just suing her because the wife found out, and he's trying to make it seem like, bro. I don't. Maybe, bro. Hey, bro. They are victims of what do you call it? Men can be victims too, bro. This just seems like a stretch.
If part of that was true, it would be a massive issue, not just for the people involved, but for the company itself. But again, everything hinges on if the story holds up or not. Meanwhile, Hajini's team did release a statement saying they categorically deny all allegations, and she never engaged with any inappropriate conduct with this individual of any kind and has never been to the location where the alleged assault supposedly took place. And that caused a lot of people to start looking into Rana's past, and that's where things get pretty detailed. So now you have a very serious lawsuit starting to run into some very serious problems. Because about 10 months before filing this lawsuit, Rana had gone to a legal chatbot asking for advice on a case that sounds very familiar here. Except there's some key details that are off here. So in an earlier version, he wasn't even talking about JP Morgan. He was talking about Morgan Stanley, which, to be fair, he did work at both. So at first, that might not seem like a huge deal, but then it gets a little weirder because in that version of the story, the alleged abuser was male, not female. Same kind of scenario, same type of allegations, just different names, a different company, different genders. So now it suddenly doesn't look like someone describing a real situation. It starts to look like someone testing out different versions of the same story. Almost kind of like if you were trying to see what would stick. And the similarities here are pretty obvious with how the dynamics being described, even some of the phrasing, and it all lines up with his lawsuit. So in that version, he describes a situation where a junior employee is pulled into a relationship with a senior figure at a major financial firm. Already sounding familiar, which is, the same thing that he hit Hajini with. But in the old one, he frames it as something that starts off professional, then becomes personal, and then eventually turns into a situation involving pressure, control, and power imbalance. So now you have two versions of a story, same structure and the same type of relationship, but the key details like the company and the gender of the person he's accusing are very different. So it kind of sounds like someone's testing different versions of the same scenario, almost like they were trying to figure out how to frame it. But regardless, I mean, his claims are insane. And if any of it's true, it's extremely alarming. But I have seen people say, well, just because you asked some lawyer for advice and changed some details doesn't mean it's made up. And maybe that's true, but it does look very strange for him. And this will definitely come out in any future lawsuits going forward. Because if it's confirmed that he actually made this entire lawsuit up, what was the end goal here? I guess like to move up the company ladder, get a big payday, or write out the weirdest fan fiction ever, or maybe just call his wife a whole bunch of slurs. I don't know, but it was also revealed that before he made all this public in a lawsuit, last May he submitted an internal complaint where he tried to have the company.
If this nigga made this up, and we found out that he made it up, nigga, you weren't hungry enough, nigga. You weren't hungry enough. You had 10 months to prepare for this. You weren't hungry enough, nigga. And I'm telling you right now, he's not gonna have a life after this. He is not gonna have a life after this. No one's gonna hire him. No one, nigga. His DMs is gonna be flooded with death threats and all types of, he's not gonna have a life after this. If he made this up, it's raps. No more life. I hope your wife divorced you too, if you made this up.
Settled with him for millions of dollars. So I mean, that could answer some things, but obviously the internet did its thing and they found a property of his worth $1.7 million. But yeah, I guess shooters shoot. Obviously that's messed up if this is all not made up. But unfortunately for him, I mean, instead of sounding like something that's pulled from real conversations, some of his claims just read almost overwritten, like they were designed to sound shocking, which again, doesn't prove anything by itself, but when you pair that with the chatbot version, it just doesn't look too good for him. Lawsuits like this live and die on credibility. So it's not always about what's being claimed, it's about whether the person making these claims can be seen as consistent, reliable, and believable over time. The defense is absolutely going to point to the earlier chatbot prompt and say, why does the same scenario exist months earlier with different details? And they'll probably argue that the story isn't even stable, and even if there were real events behind all this, and again, it's looking a little doubtful right now, so that might be a no. But if a court determines that the claims were knowingly false or misleading, that could open the door for some serious consequences for the guy, like dismissal of the case, financial penalties, or even countersuits. And personally, I'm thinking a countersuit is very likely if this is fake. I don't know what world he would be in to not get sued for making stuff like this up if it comes back that none of this was real. But another reason why he might be cooked here is he didn't just name Hajini as the defendant. No, the guy also went after the entire bank. He actually named JP Morgan as a co-defendant right along with his so-called abuser. And here he's saying that they backed her and there were consequences for him reporting his abuse. And I mean, one person suing him is one thing, but now he might actually get sued by JP Morgan as well if all of this is fake. So this will be interesting to see what happens. So reading through his original complaint.
Bro, if this nigga is making this whole thing up, this is the dumbest nigga I've ever heard of in my fucking life, bro. This is the dumbest nigga I've heard of for a while. Like, if he makes this up, not only do you go off the person who allegedly did inappropriate stuff with you, you go off of the fucking bank too, nigga. The organization, nigga. If he made this up, like, if he didn't and everything is true that he is saying, because men are victims too. So if he's not making this up, then big ups, bro. That's brave, nigga. You're doing a lot of shit that a lot of men wouldn't do. And I'm sure a lot of niggas are calling you a pussy and what. And doing 1, 2, 3, and that being like, if I was in that situation, you know what I'm saying? But no, men are victims too, and no is a no. And if it was the other way around, we would be defending the women. So can we please keep the same energy for men? But if he is making this up, he's a piece of shit, and he's the dumbest motherfucker I've ever heard of in a while. So yeah.
I'm sitting here like, wow, those are a whole lot of words I had no idea even existed. An example of that is apparently he was alleging that she referred to his wife, who to my knowledge is Indian, as Asian. And a lot of people are saying, wait, in the US, you don't refer to Indian people for the most part as Asian, which is, I mean, in my friend groups, we'd refer to an Indian person as an Indian person or an Arabic person as an Arabic person. I wouldn't refer to an Arabic person as Asian, even though technically it is in Asia. The same with India. So like, I don't know, is that just me? Because I feel like when I say, oh, Asian, I'm thinking of like East Asia, even though technically all of those places are in Asia. Part of me wants to text my Indian friend and ask if he identifies as Asian or Indian. Indian, because I am a realist. Okay. But JP Morgan did release a statement where they did their internal investigation saying, following investigation, we don't believe there's any merit to these claims. While numerous employees cooperated with the investigation, the complainant refused to participate and has declined to provide facts that would be central to support his allegations. Why would he do that? That's a genuine question. Would it legally not be smart for him to provide them with facts? Or does that just not make them look good? I don't know. But according to JP Morgan, they looked into all the digital communications, talked to other employees, and nothing came up. Could you imagine being one of his coworkers and someone from HR calls you and he's like, yeah, so, did any of this happen? And then it's like the most insane text you've ever seen in your life. Yeah, no. Not that I know of. Yo, so, you know Rana from down the hall. Do you know of him being anyone's slave here? Like, come on. Like, obviously, this is traumatizing if it's real. Actually, it's traumatizing regardless. It's traumatizing for the person who's being accused if it's fake, and it's traumatizing for the person who's accusing if it is real. Regardless, no matter what, it's going to be traumatizing. But obviously, this guy is garbage if it's fake. Currently, though, her LinkedIn actually says that she still spends her free time out of work supporting a nonprofit called Minds Matter, which helps underprivileged kids get into college. So at least from the surface, she doesn't seem like the corporate monster that he's trying to paint her out to be. But again, I don't know these people. All we can do is kind of analyze the situation from the internet. But apparently, he has retracted the lawsuit for corrections, so a lot of people are reporting on that, so I guess we'll wait and see what happens. As of right now, there's no court date yet, and we don't know what corrections are going to be made here. So to me, even if he rescinds the lawsuit completely, he could still be facing a massive countersuit. So, either way, it doesn't look good here, but this is one of the craziest lawsuits I've seen in a minute. So I just want to cover that here. But other than that, if you're new here, feel free to subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.
And I know it's a good video by A Tizzy. But anyway, yeah. Don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, and share.